As we progress, things are cleaning up. Starting to actually feel like we're making some progress here. Hacking through the giant weeds. Especially as we discover more and more of the map. Because I think this is the whole game. And I've gotten this far. Day 1 and 2 all in here. Day 2 in particular got in through here a bit. Day 3 all the way up to here. All the way up to here technically. But just on the floor. Around back behind here where you can't see on screen. But we'll probably check out the boardwalk and the church tomorrow. Because we need to check out the trajectories of where the bullets might have come from. But we're also going to talk to Titus again too. And all that. I'm not really planning on doing much on my own today. Whoopsie. Yeah. I made a funny mistake. Still, there's information that she on the boat likely still has that she's keeping from me. Is it time yet, by the way? Is it? Oh, it's time. The thing that said that it wasn't time is gone now, apparently. Mysterious door scene, +1. You've been here a long time, +1. Huh. What is... Look out the window. What am I looking for? Really? A heroic... I got a heroic failure. Fuck. Well, I got 2 points to spend, I guess. It's not the worst. Shit. Come on, man. Alright. That was that was improbable. There's a yellow ribbon tied to one of the branches. Light yellow. Faded with time. A tiny splash of color in the blackness of the thicket. Hanging from it. A bronze key. It's close enough to the latch up there. One can slide it open and just take it. It's surely not a coincidence. Don't say it out loud. Someone's hid a key in the bush, point at the window. Ah? The big guy looks behind him. Can you, let me slide by so I can grab that thing? I don't know about that. The tattooed man yawns and settles more comfortably on the bench. I'm comfortable here. Don't think any sliding would really help right now. Sorry, fucko. Looks like you're gonna have to go bush diving. Good fucking luck with that. The hawthorn's gonna bite like a bitch. I'm gonna enjoy the sight of you in the bushes out there. That's a creepy way to say that. With a loud thud, the old man stands up, pushes the window open, grabs the key from the hawthorn branch, and slides it across the table to you. Ah, Theo's sick of my shit, but in a helpful way. Take the key. The key is brass. Workshop spare is etched into its bow. Bow? Huh? The old man closes the window and sits back down in silence. Come on, man, we were just having some fun. Where's the fun? Where's the harm in? I'm tired of listening to your shit. Thank you, nodded the old man. Don't thank me. The old man takes out his pack of chewing tobacco. I don't give two shits about your key. He's just done with this entire situation, and done with his games, and done with this crowd of people for the most part. Does anyone know why this key was hanging outside the union box window? Didn't even know it was there. The man looks at the key in your hand, then around in the room. Boys? No idea. Never even seen it. Someone must have hidden it there before this room became our place. I wonder what doors this opens. It's an older building, who knows? He shrugs. Ooh. It's even tied to the secret doors, so it opens the secret passages. It's got to. I gotta save this for Kim, though. This isn't the time. It's not... not the time. I might want to look into my red checks thing, though. We'll have to see. I'm trying to pass some time there. Let's see, it's 11 o'clock. I've got a special key. Date of birth generator. That's a strange one. The homosexual underground. Precarious world. All red checks fail for 4 hours. That's not too long. Get some of it done now, some of it done later. I want those 3 shiver points. Learning cap of endurance raised to 4. Like, I do benefit from that. Normally I don't get to have that many points. Is 1 XP per orb that useful? All int caps being raised by 1 can be useful, if I ever get that far. This isn't very useful. I unlocked all the white int checks. Well, so all I really got was 1 Inland Empire point. But what if the motorway... I don't know, what if motorway south comes up again? And having that check figured out is helpful for that. Some of these just give you a couple of points. Which, like, those points are good, but not necessarily... Some of these other modifiers are potentially more worth it. I could always just put those points in myself. Yeah, yeah, that's an example of your thought manifesting outside of just the stats, because finger pistols keeps coming up as a thing I can do, on top of just giving me 1 reaction speed, and when I don't have any things in my hands, 1 suggestion, which I'm back and forth on. Shit. It sucks. I want to open these things up and see what they do. I imagine the homosexual underground leads to an entire quest or something. Or I just realized that the guy's full of shit or something. I don't know, that's taunting to go somewhere, because a lot of these things do lead somewhere. This thing gives me more experience, which kind of everything that gives me experience I kind of want to keep around to keep piling up. Yeah, this is just 2 perception. Like, I can get the perception elsewhere. All red checks fail for 4 hours. Seems like the point of this game is victory. The absence of defeat on all fronts. Victory in business ventures and creative undertakings. Victory in love and other people. Political victory. Ideological victory. Hell, even sexual victory. Definitely a lot of object-based victories too. Having things, not losing them. One problem though. Not a lot of visitors in sight. Everyone's mostly losing. Why is that? And how do you not lose? 4 hours to go. Might want to read some police stories for a bit. But for now, my goal is to wander off down to where I live. I wonder how late I can stay up before I hit some kind of limit. Because the later I stay up, the more I can spend, the more time I can spend making progress on my red check. 4 hours isn't that long, but it's already 11 o'clock. I'm like here, I think, yeah. It's so dark now. If only I had a solution for that. There you go. It's not that, it's not really affecting that much, but whatever. Hup! A creaking ahead. A broken axle grinding. Is it you? What is it? I could check in here, but I think I've already been in here. It's hard to say, 'cause it could be wildly unimportant. Have I been here yet? Oh yeah, I remember this spot. It might not be very important. Might even be something that I've noticed before, but just not that particular audio pickup. Not the worst time to be an enabler. Wait. Oh, it's a tool.
Tequila sunset.
I got you some more booze. Can you tell me the next story now? Of course. Drink first, story later. He holds out his palm. Here, I've got a potent pilsner. Not much, but it'll do. He grabs the bottle from your hand and uncorks it immediately. The tale I'm about to tell you is an urban legend, particular to Martinez. He lifts the bottle to his lips and takes a long, luxuriant sip. They say, that said, I first heard it from a former bicycle courier in Quran. There are many variations of the basic story, and the details often conflict. What everyone agrees on is that nobody knows the exact nature or identity of the phenomenon. Are you telling the story of the headless... Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. He clears his throat. Summer of 44. 17-year-old Gertrude Het is walking home from a late shift in the harbor. It's almost midnight. She stops for a cigarette near the canal. The streets are warmed by a southerly breeze. The lights of a passing motor carriage bloom and fade in the distance. In the harbor's dark, her cigarette is a beacon, dancing alone. The image comes to you effortlessly, as though you'd walk the same streets yourself 1,000 times. Our heroine finds herself enjoying the peace and quiet of the canal provides. He looks up to the skies as if searching for peace himself. What she doesn't know is that her peace is about to be shattered. From behind her comes the clattering of hooves. Startled, she turns around and what does she see? A horse? Well, yes, but it's the man on the horse that's of interest here. A man. The pause is long and dramatic. With no head on his shoulders, wearing a fallen tracksuit, searching for the legendary fallen cap that went missing when he lost his head. Wait, I thought the headless fallen rider rode a bull. Show him the figurine. Well, there are many versions of the story. The most peculiar of which was the headless fallen rider riding on the back of another headless man. That sounds pretty implausible to me. If I hadn't lost my keys that one time, I'd agree with you. But life is a cruel mistress. He takes a sip. Gertrude Het may have been the first to witness the headless fallen rider, but she wasn't the last. Oh no. Tell him about the two feminists by the locks. Fuck, Rosemary, they were dating. No one said they were feminists. Everyone always misremembering this stuff. If only I... Everything's linked together. It's really funny because I'm playing a game right now about stories being misremembered and changed and morphed every time they're retold, called Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. which is specifically about like a series of these kinds of stories where every time it's retold, certain elements of it change and become more and more fantastical, making the story a better story but a less true story. But that makes it all the more effective at spreading, which is also how the world works in reality. Like there's a good video about that called "This Video Will Make You Angry" by CGP Grey that specifically discusses the ideas of like how like stories, which he calls thought germs in his case, specifically evolved to make themselves better at spreading. And so this little, like, different people, when they interact with the story, will slightly change the story in this direction or that direction, just a little bit, either on accident or on purpose. But if the changes made to the story make it more worth sharing, more effective at spreading, then that version just gets spread more and more, and then maybe that one gets changed a little bit. And that's why you'll hear the same story from 3 different people sometimes. Like, you hear that thing in the news lately or whatever, that is probably something that someone's mad about or whatever, and then like everyone that tells you about the story will give you a slightly different version of the story until you finally hopefully just give up and actually look into it yourself and find out who the hell's telling the truth anymore. And a lot of the times the reason why all those different versions of the story are different is because of the way that they morph to become more effective at spreading, which is shown by both This Video Will Make You Angry and Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. They're both versions of that idea. And Where the Water Tastes Like Wine, you personally encounter and witness certain American events as you walk across the country from east to west in a Death Stranding sort of way, and then you tell people your stories that you witness, and then you get your own stories told back to you by other people who don't know you later on, and they've changed and changed, becoming wildly fantastical. For example, like just a story about a particularly bad storm morphing until it's the story about these massive birds that call down storms and stuff like that, which I believe is what they were riffing on with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Right. Early autumn of 46, Eula DuPont and Eva Delgado are fishing near the water lock not long after the sun is set. The wind picks up. A sky already dark now blackens. Water starts falling from above, the first cold rain of the season. 2 women stand on small outcropping of rocks. One of them is wearing a purple raincoat. Thin lines reach out from the rods into the sea. Small droplets start appearing on the surface with increasing frequency. The women are caught in the downpour. They act quickly. Eva gathers rods while Eula turns around to reach for the tackle box. When she sees something, her shriek is so violent the residents of the nearby apartments building believe lightning has struck. But there is no lightning, only a heavy downpour and the silhouette of headless fawn rider looming on the horizon. Eula makes a run for the shore, but Eva slips on a wet rock and disappears into the cold, cold canal with nary a sound. The man falls ominously silent for a moment, then looks you straight in the eye and says, "Oh, the man looks out." I thought we were talking about the headless man. I'm like, how is the headless man looking us in the eye? He doesn't have a head. The man falls ominously silent for a moment, then looks you straight in the eye and says, "Her body is never found. Recovered. I'm good at words." What happened to Eula DuPont? Word on the street is that she, you know. He makes a finger pistol with his right hand and lifts up his chin. Gave herself facial deconstruction surgery, real grisly stuff. Anyway, that's the story of the headless fawn rider. Pretty crazy, huh? Who was the headless fawn rider before he died? Well, Tequila, that's part of the legend. No one knows for sure. There are a couple of possibilities, though. Some say he was an undercover cop who blew his cover and got beheaded by the vicious gang he had infiltrated. Now he riots, searching for his lost fawn cop, plotting revenge. Others claim he was a professional jockey who veered off course during a steeplechase, ended up in somebody's backyard, then got decapitated by an exceptionally taut clothesline. Personally, I think he was just some guy who hanged himself from a really tall tree, and the fall was so violent that his head came clean off. Coincidentally, at that exact moment, a horse happened to pass under him, and his beheaded corpse mounted it, where it remains to this day, but then no one really knows. For some reason, this does strike you as the most plausible theory of them all. I gotta agree. Your theory sounds the most plausible. Isn't it? All the pieces fit together perfectly. That's how I know it's right. None of it's right because the story's bullshit, but okay. Alright, to each his own. You want to hear other stories? What do you mean to each his own? I agreed with you. What the fuck? Okay. I've already seen some weird shit on this case. A headless jockey in a tracksuit fits right in. That's the reality situation for you. You think you got a handle on it, then blam! It throws some wild shit at you. He takes a long swig, then smiles. That's why it's critical to stay well hydrated. That's nothing. I got an even crazier story. Do I? Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit, Tequila? There's no way you've got a better one than me. Yeah, actually, you're right. Nothing comes to mind. Damn it, Tequila, you fucked me. Damn, it doesn't. So why don't you shut up and leave me to the master? Wow, this is really getting abrasive. Okay, what became of the headless fawn rider? No one knows. Some say he stalks Martinez to this day, and can be seen near the canal where the clock strikes midnight. He makes a spooky gesture with his free hand. I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced. Be seeing you. Because I specifically that's how you know there's some legitimacy to the story, not necessarily it being true, but just the fact that the story reflects something that exists outside of him just making shit up. Is that like I specifically have a thing that references that? What? Oh, I was like, what is he doing with that flashlight? Why is he smelling his hand? It's like, oh, it's trying to shine the flashlight at this part of the screen. It's still following him around. That's funny. Well, I went and found myself a place to sleep. Where's the... no, here. 3 hours... Alright, well, that ate up a whole 15 minutes. What's the latest I've stayed up so far? I don't want to, like, accidentally fuck up and, like, pass out. Or whatever happens if you stay up too late. I don't know how the game handles you staying up too late. The old woman still sits in her chair, continuing with her chores. As she does, she quietly hums to herself. The buzz of electric lights blends together with the slow rumble of ocean waves at night. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her about it right now. You still up? Yes. I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. Is this a thing? Because I've heard multiple references to older people not sleeping as much, and it kind of freaks me out. It just sounds like it makes everything shittier. Unless they just stop needing sleep as much. She sloshes the water in her bucket around for a bit. My suggestion is, don't. Don't grow any older than you already are. That's old enough. She smiles. What's troubling your mind? What's that song you're humming? A lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids, too. It's an old Samaran children's song. What's it called? Surrender to the night. She replies, slowly rocking back and forth. That's kind of grim for a children's song. Even if it is a lullaby, they're all grim. None of them are not grim. Every single fairy tale and children's song is, like, horribly morbid. They're all distressing every time, without fail. Sounds nice. Yes, she nods. It does. You know anything about a lost jacket? What do you want with a lost jacket? One of the drunks lost his, and I agreed to look for it. He probably pawned it for booze, then forgot about it. You know how drunk men are. Are you getting a reward for it, at least? No. What? You're fetching someone's missing laundry free of charge? You have nothing better to do? I just need to be needed. Or I just forgot to ask for reward. Wow. Wow. I just need to be needed? Because the other one sounds like I'm entitled to a reward for any nice thing I ever do. None of my business either way. How you spend your hours is up to you. Anyhow, you might ask Lillian if she's seen anything lately. That girl's got a way of attracting lost and broken things. Whoa. That sounded very full of meaning. Oh, she's still up too.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Idiot Doom Spiral over there needs his jacket. Have you seen it? Remarkable. She shakes her head. That one already lost everything else, and now his jacket too. It's a good thing, too, that he has an actual police officer looking for it. A smile lights up her face. Good old Doom Spiral. Upper management to the core. That's odd. Is she actually impressed? Just trying to help a stranger in need. That's sweet of you. It really is. I check around the abandoned fish market on the boardwalk. Drunks are inexplicably drawn to markets. Might be why they have such trouble staying in business. A phenomenon that the spectral hand theory of the market fails to account for. The invisible hand of the market. Ooh, it's a ghost. If one of them lost something, that's a place to start looking at any. I'm looking for someone else, actually. Am I, though? Never mind. That's my motor carriage in the sea, by the way. Oh. She looks in the pointed direction. That's good to know, I guess. Why is it in the sea? It's an installation, very conceptual. I wasn't feeling it. It was an accident, I'm sorry. I got drunk and apparently drove it into the sea. Or an official investigation has been launched by me to determine just that, ma'am. Oh boy. Yeah, it was an accident. I'm sorry. She looks at you and shrugs. This calls for a funeral, if you ask me. You were suggesting we honor the carcass of my former motor carriage? Aye, feels deserved, don't you think? Falling in line of duty like that and all. What an odd thought. Maybe I should. Why odd? Our things are part of our life world. They're made with human sweat and they share human history. We should care about them as we care about humans, to some extent at least. Life world. Someone's been reading up on last century Gutwalden philosophers. Play it cool now. Alright, I'm in. But organizing a funeral takes a lot of time and effort, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, she says with a chuckle. You won't be able to get it out of the water before early June. And where are you going to bury it? Who to invite? What music to play at the wake? Take it from someone who's been through a few funerals. It's easiest to just leave them there. Let nature take care of it. It's a pity we don't get to do more frivolous side activities, like rejuvenate the doomed commercial area, or... I understand, believe me, I really do. She brushes her hair back. I think about it, all the frivolous side activities I could be doing every time I go out there with my nets. But daydreaming is a rich man's game. At sea you can't afford to be careless and dream. Anyway, she shakes her head. What are we talking about here again? She needs to go on a date with another drunk badly. My amazing suggestion skill of 1. Somehow haven't accrued any negative modifiers yet, which is impressive. I'm technically not a drunk, by the way. Not currently. I mean, there's the whole once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic aspect, but I mean, like, I am not currently drunk and have not been for the last, like, 3 days, unless you count, like, the dwindling, hangover. We should really be calling it a day. I hope nothing goes wrong that leads to me not being able to stay here tonight and it's all a trap or something. Because I don't have $20. I only have $18. He also probably went to sleep by now, so that's not great for me. It's just the reflection now, yeah. The game told me to check under the floorboards, but I don't know how to check under the floorboards. I don't think I have yet. It was like Shivers, I think, that told me that. My interfacing is pretty high, so I don't think that's holding me back from checking into the floorboards. Perception's pretty good. I don't know. Still have 3.5 hours to go. Might be a time to read a case file before I go to bed. Let's read a case file. The Unsolvable Case. AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the Public Indecency Drunk and Property Damage Drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29th, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It's in their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man. You can't lock them away, because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop displaying his genitals and for Burke to stop attacking things would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which in their 40s or 50s is hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability. Couldn't we just keep them off the streets? You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition, because that's where the action is. Proceed. Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hell holes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get a local gang of Zemlikas, take them out. The Zemliakis gang gave them ethanol so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop. As they hadn't stopped for 10 years, I could try to get a gang to take them out? The fuck? They're like about to become 2 of my 3 kills. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill each time you drive down Main Street, because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing? Leslie's the public indecency guy. Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, then that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have confused it with property he likes to damage, but the joke's on him. The officer is also a drunk. Way more drunk than Burke there. And let's be fair, you also have party eyes. You slammed the hardened plastic board into his face, then proceed to beat him unconscious with it. Jesus Christ. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer begins to cry, reports Leslie, who at this point is tending to Burke. Oh no. Leslie told the story that I started crying because I jammed shut the compartment that I think it's the compartment that I was keeping some of the sad things in. He came at us. And at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is Burko can't walk anymore. Is that the good news? Can't get out of his apartment. An invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, who knows. But both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolved case is solved. Which is why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? I don't know if I do. I didn't like that one. So, if you were complaining that the old me and the new me are too similar, because there's the issue of like, if our actions in the game inform the drunk guy's recollections of what we were like before we were drunk, before we forgot who we were, like whether or not we reinvented ourselves or not. Well, there's one thing. I'm not wildly out of control and violent and drunk, so I've reinvented myself to some extent. I'm not the guy who made Burke an invalid. Jesus fucking Christ. That's like a wildly out of control police force right there. Leading to permanent destruction of a person. Like that's just, I just didn't need to know that was in my past. That's a bummer. Harry, what the fuck? The square bullet hole murders. It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seemed to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. But that's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet, and then another body showed up, also with a square hole in its forehead. A sequence killer? Who knows? Those pages are missing. What's next? That's all I got? The fuck? One day you may still catch the man with the square gun. I get the feeling that's not what it was. The couch in an unexpected location? It's a really funny name for a case. Reminds me of a recent Tom Scott short. Yeah. Like the dimension where there are slightly more turtles than expected. Or slightly more pigeons or something. Like, it's like, how many pigeons do you think I saw on my walk today, Tom? 2? No, 3. Wow, that's slightly more than I expected. The couch in an unexpected location. Wow, I thought the couch was over there. Crazy. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung on it. In the middle of the street. On the roof. On the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young and they thought they looked cool on it. Alright, let's recap this. They brought outside and hung out on it in the middle of the street. What? Okay, so that's why that made no sense to me. That sentence didn't like incorporate as information. It's a series of unexpected locations. I thought the 3 things it said were all describing one location somehow, but it can't. Middle of the street, on the roof, and on the hillside. Okay. They looked really cool, like a rock band. Yes, and as you said here, insufferable rock and roll assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you gotta complain about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it was. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took to it. Where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes and drank coffee because they felt it's intellectual. Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did, so congratulations to you, case solved. How is that? This was a case? Did I ever catch those guys? No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what it's called a real goddamn job, so you don't have time to be chasing down couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What's next? Murder at the hookah parlor. Why not? Murder. Tum-tum-tum. At the hookah parlor. Was a case originally assigned to an officer named Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Wait, how? Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner JM, only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story. It isn't really represented by, in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor. Right, on with the murder. Joseph Mills was on the case when he just couldn't, was on this case that he just couldn't solve. Was doing it solo. Said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister. Was on it for like a month. The captain got impatient. Sit or get off the pot, Mills. Or shouldn't shit or get off the pot. Damn it. That always weirded me out. That phrase, but I guess it makes complete sense. It's just I just don't like the imagery, really. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, and as outlandish as they seemed, still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. Wait, was Joseph Mills a good cop? No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, Jesus Christ. He'd been on it for months now. Said he was said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That the murder vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Go on. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere. And you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum flavored vapor all day. Can you get high off it? No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything. Stupid. Yeah, so, anyway, young man in his 20s, found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there, only client that day, in perfect health too, some kind of movie producer. No one enters, no one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45, then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin. Movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. Well, he didn't just drop dead, he got his head bashed open. So you go to the parlor, you see cushions around the table. Table's low, heavy, real sharp edge. He sucked hookah, stood up, passed out, hit his head on the table and died. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, so you don't notice until you get up and go to the bathroom. He must have sucked a lot of it. Yeah, he liked his hookah. Steven was his name. What was he doing there for 6 hours? Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective. And about 30 minutes had passed, piecing it together. Next. The mystery is that the detective is bad at his job. Boom. Case solved. I'm crazy. You never know what you're gonna get with me. Man, what a genius. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright. Hey, we're less than an hour. It's 2 a.m. I'm a little worried that I might just, like, physically collapse. I don't know how this works. Let's find out the hard way. Browse the case files again? There's a naming convention? Yeah, we've been through all this before. I think I'm done. I think that's all I get. The clipboard. Slide the hidden drawer open is an option, technically. If I'm afraid of myself. Fucking kill yourself, you asshole. Jesus Christ. That's a hell of an option. Yeah. That's my case file there. primer for small kids has been read. Maybells are gonna have to wait. Have I interacted with this already though? What? 6 crumbling petals rest on your palm. They're white, a bell-shaped crown. Somewhere in central Dramrock, Lieutenant Kitsuragi steps into a public library. Rows of shelves pass on either side. You feel he should be here for in-depth flower analysis. Not where I thought that would go. I'm trying to remember, did I already read 16 Days of Coldest April? I did. Okay. We're pretty much done with most of these things. I've been on top of things. Yeah. Alright, only an hour to go. There's a decent chance that tomorrow that hour will pass by harmlessly without any red checks. But only one way to find out. So begins day 4. Unless I have a stroke in my sleep or something. You know. Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away. Whoa, am I actually comfortable now?
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street. Recorded in you forever on the Faraday.
Spinning in eternity.
On and on it goes, for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising, above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars. Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the potted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
What is it?
It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit.
The colors, the voices.
All stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent, picking up litter and old newspapers, collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are. The map of a city.
That's right. I am an agent of the world.
You'll go insane if you keep going like this. One more day, and you'll be in the loony bin. I just know you will. And for what, brother man?
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off your lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth.
Why?
'Cause only love can break your heart.
Feel the pillow under your cheek.
Beep, beep, beep. The alarm is ringing, Harry. The disco circus goes on and on. You barely slept 3 hours last night.
You can do it. It's nothing. Do it for the city. Go. Do it for the wind. Barely slept 3 hours. Why am I here and not in the bed? Okay. So I think it's kind of out of your control. I don't think it's based on when you go to sleep. I went to bed at like 2. They said that I barely slept 3 hours. When he goes and wakes up at 7:30. That math doesn't check out. Not quite. But yeah, this only makes progress during certain forms of time passing. What is this? Oh, it's a series of lightning bolts that goes through to where you're clicking on. It'd be interesting if their positioning meant something, but I don't think it does anything. I could be wrong. There he is. Good morning.
Yes?
I don't think we have much to talk about necessarily. Oh, that was uneventful. Just came by, took a nap, was a-okay when I woke up in the morning. Didn't have like a group coming after me or anything. Isn't this over with or something? Or what's the situation? The trap's full of locusts, but they seem weak and unhealthy. A few lie on their backs, their legs twitching. Still no phasmid. Is it the cold? The cold taking them out? Wait till Kim finds out that I have the key. Gonna be so proud. Here's the petanque player. Is he up yet? What do you... You guys seem awful interested in our car. Excuse me. We'll get to that in just a moment. I'm gonna deal with the Maybells. That's probably a quick thing. Something isn't right about this game. Take a closer look. Despite his limp, the man in the uniform moves with efficient grace. His motions are measured and precise. The jolly-looking man in the checkered jacket moves lazily, like a giant tomcat stretching out in the sun. Then suddenly he leans forward and uses the O end of the measuring tape to nudge his opponent's balls further from the small brown sphere in the pit. As he does this, he complains about his back. Apparently oblivious to his partner's treachery, the uniformed man grabs a ball and takes aim again. You're cheating. Ah, just like you helped him cheat. Just like you helped his girlfriend cheat on him. Oh, shit. How dare you be cheating on a Thursday of all times? Well, apparently I'm going to highlight. Oh no, the scroll bar is back. And it's going to come back more and more often because every time something comes out on a new day, we get a giant title bar. Which really exasperates the entire thing. I need to, like, eliminate an entire day's worth of mysteries if I want to make positive progress here.
Vigilance, officer! What can this old carabinier do for you?
Do Maybells mean anything to you, Renee? He glances at it and frowns. I prefer the old name. Insulindian Lily. Girls brought them to young cadets when they entered service. Wearing them on your cap was supposed to bring good luck. Hold on, is this a royalist military tradition? It used to be, he says with a sigh. But the communards were fond of them too, called them revolutionary flowers. Bells of the revolution. Did they bring you good luck? You know what? He falls silent, and then the emerging smile withdraws. No. They brought me misery, false hope and disappointment. The revolutionaries sullied them. But it wasn't the revolutionaries that sullied the idea for you, was it? He looks at the old soldier almost gently. She gave them to me too, and your jealous little heart just couldn't accept it. She must be the woman from that picture. Jean-Marie, again. Enough. He cuts in sharply. I can go over these matters in detail with you, Gaston, but not while we have company. So, officers? Maybells don't blossom yet, do they? The lieutenant quickly asks. Maybe on some remote parts of the city they do. The old carabineer shrugs. But I think you have to wait for at least a month. And yet we found some. I don't know if I can actually bring up the cheating. We also got our information just up front. There we go. Is it just done? Yeah, that's just it. Maybe that's all we had going on. We weren't necessarily able to connect it to anything.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I aid the citizens, Militia, on this fine day?
I'm obliged by the law to tell you there's been a breach of ethics. Wink and point at the balls. No, you are not. Enforcing proper conduct in amateur petanque game is not something the Elysium involves itself in. He smiles. It doesn't matter. Kim, cheating in sports is unacceptable. I got this. What do you mean, officer? He looks startled. I saw what you did there, Gaston. How's your back? Ugh. It's not very good, officer. I'm an old man, and sciatica's gnawing at my joints. There's a look of hopelessness in his eyes. Some days the pain is almost too much. He's faking. If you want to expose him, get straight to the point. If you start japing about old age, it's never going to happen. Getting older does present a whole new set of challenges. Lately my eyes just aren't the same. Even getting out of bed is pretty difficult. The hangovers must be getting worse too. Don't think I used to lose my memory every time I had a little drink. I know what you mean, officer, he says excitedly. Then there's the blood sugar, and don't even get me started on the bladder troubles. Why don't you two of you get a tomb and take your whining there? He looks at you, disgusted. I am ashamed to even stand in the same crater with you. Why don't you get a tomb yourself? Already got one, smartass. He utters through his teeth. Comes with the rank of my service record. But not with a monetary pension, unfortunately. The checkered suit snaps at his partner and turns to you. What can I do for you, officer? That was silly. But we did it anyway. Yeah. Not that dedicated to telling on him, but I'll play out the scenario. Oh yes, officer, it's quite the... Oh, my back. I just can't take it anymore.